The demise of the federal government's Malaysian solution raises the prospect that some of WA's rural towns could become centres to house the refugees while they seek permission to stay permanently. One town in WA's Great Southern knows all about turning new arrivals into settled model citizens. Nearly 40 years ago, the first wave of Cocos and Christmas Island Malays arrived in Katanning, followed over the years by a flow of refugees from around the world. Today, people from 42 nationalities call Katanning home, but the Great Southern town is facing some new challenges of its own. Mark Bennett reports.
Katanning, caught on a 1980 home movie. A celebration parade held on the Prophet Muhammad's birthday, down the main street of the Great Southern town. Malay migrants from Cocos and the Christmas Islands proudly display their traditional costumes and their Muslim heritage. Drawn to Katanning in the late 60s to fill jobs for halal workers at the local abattoir, Cocos Malays relied on the town's main employer to establish themselves. For the first few years, there were doubts they'd stay the distance.
Do you think that the community will continue to grow, or do you think that people might start moving back to the islands?
If we can't find a job in Australia, then we might have to leave Australia and find another place.
Would they want to go back for any other reasons? Is it a more pleasant lifestyle over there?
I don't think so, because Australia we have a pleasant life than Cocos Islands.
To get much done today?
Fast forward almost 4 decades, and the islanders and other migrants have moved into Katanning's mainstream. 42 nationalities now live in this town of just 4,500 people. Alep Maidi arrived as a 14-year-old.
Anything else? No, just that, thanks.
Now he manages a hardware store and sits on the local council.
We were living in one house with 6 families. That's we are been reminding people of many times. You remember the day you arrived in 1977. There was no housing. We the elders, we were the first families to arrive. There was a house next door, the 4-bedroom. There was 4 families in there.
The Muslim Malays learnt how to adopt to Australian life, and the Australians learnt how to live with their new neighbours.
So it was tough for the islanders here that arrived in Katanning 36 years or 30 years ago. But the result is, that we worked very hard.
30 years ago, the Muslim faithful built the Katanning Mosque, and Alep Maidi eventually became the Imam, the spiritual leader.
Allahu Akbar. And the people of Katanning, of the Christian faith, has a good values. They have that sense of kindness, helpful. I have brought that teaching from them into myself, and as a leader of the Muslim faith in Katanning, I promote that.
And it's not just the islanders who've made Katanning their home over the years. Dozens of skilled meat workers from China were brought in under 457 visas, and they were followed by Afghanis in the 90s. Among the most recent arrivals, adding to the mix of nationalities, are Karen refugees from Burma.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Come in.
Thank you.
Come in. How are you this morning?
Good.
Yes, you're all fine.
Jean Phillips volunteers through her church to give English lessons in her home.
If you can't read and write English and you can't speak English, you don't know one piece from another. So what you do is you all go round to Auntie's house and ring the bell and Auntie sorts it out for you.
E-L-S-A-Y.
S-A-Y,
Yeah.
Say.
Yeah.
And Muda.
Yep.
Many of her teenage students were born in refugee camps in Thailand, and while Katanning is their new home, they are proud of their Burmese heritage.
They came with no money, no work skills and no English, and in 3 years 8 of the families, including some of these that are here this morning, have bought their own houses.
But Katanning could now be heading down a new track, recently named one of WA's new super towns. Its multicultural community faces a very different future. A new gold mine will compete for workers in the town, putting the abattoir under pressure to find enough employees.
Katanning's a very unique place. It's a small population, it's not a huge population, and we don't have a lot of resources. Like the WAMCO is the major employer in the town, so there's not a lot of other opportunity, but given the right circumstance and some assistance, and the government certainly have got the ability to do that, it would make things a lot easier, and certainly we're still willing to employ those sort of people.
The new projects will rely on the next generation of migrants staying in the town, and that may not happen. Some, like Joanie Taylor, are in Katanning for the long haul.
I just feel at home when I'm here.
She works as a youth officer with the local council and says that the mix of cultures has created a very accepting community.
One thing I do like about Katanning is that it's very considerate. It's a very considerate town. So I've had no issues growing up as a young Muslim woman here in Katanning.
But others of the next generation are looking beyond the town boundaries. At 16, Zulfi Nazari organises soccer tournaments in the town and teaches the local kids skills of the game.
I started under 10s and then under 12s, now under 18s and seniors and everything like that. And, you know, it comes up by himself step by step.
Like many of the children of first-generation migrants, his dreams lie beyond Katanning.
I really want to make a professional life, to become a professional soccer player, like to play for Australia, which is my dream.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم.
But the settlers who arrived almost 40 years ago and made Katanning their home have a message for new arrivals.
The people wanted to see how hard we are, that we all work here, we came here to work. That's the main thing that I found, that we found that people here wanted to see that you should not come to a place that sit down and do nothing. But we made Katanning a home and make something of it. Assalamu alaikum.